Something we get asked all the time is, how do we store our meads and our wines? And the easy answer is just simply, we just put them in bottles and keep them at room temperature. Now for us, room temperature is anywhere from 75 to 80 degrees Fahrenheit. We live in Florida, so we have air conditioning. But you know what? It's like November and we have the heat on. So, it really depends. But we tend to keep between 75 and 80 degrees Fahrenheit. Your mileage may vary. Just know that the warmer you keep them, the less they'll keep. Now, we do really well at our temperature, so that gives you an indication. Colder is even better. But what bottles do we use? Well, lots. We have bottles that we bought off of Amazon and in our local homebrew stores that are screw-ons, screw caps, and we reuse the screw caps, no problem. We've gotten years out of these without issue. We also use swing tops. This happens to be a beer bottle because we don't have any wine bottles available right now. They're all full of mead and wine. And it's just a swing top. The seals are replaceable. So every couple of years, if you feel like the seal isn't holding well, replace the seal. We tend to get years out of those seals though. We also have some of these. These are actually recycled beer bottles that came with beer. They're just a little smaller of a bottle. And then there's the other recycled bottles. This one, I think, was Everclear. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's Everclear. Again, it's a screw cap. Not really a problem at all. If you get ones that have corks, this is where it gets a little bit tricky. When the corks are the synthetic kind, they're just not real cork, they tend to last a little bit longer. They don't go moldy. We've had some of the real corks get a little bit moldy over time and they really didn't store well for usage, so we tend to not use those. The synthetic ones work really nicely. This happens to be a Costco brand whiskey. I think it's their Scotch. It might be the Canadian version. 1.75 liter bottle. But if you notice, the height of it is about the same as a typical 750 ml bottle. So it works in all of our fridges really, really nicely. That's why we reuse these. I do not, however, keep my Wild Turkey 101 1.75 liter bottles because they're just huge. They're way too big to store anything in. It just doesn't make sense. But you probably noticed this guy sitting over here. This is a 1.75 liter bottle, but it's huge. Why is it huge? Just for fun, just to have fun with it. That's the only reason. We would put like a wine in here or something if we were bringing it to a party, just because you walk in the door with this, you are impressing someone. That's when it comes to the bottles. Now, you can get even fancier. You can use corks and a whole cork presser, the whole deal. You can wax those corks. You can put fancy labels on them. You can dress them up however you like. In the end, as long as it is sealed and if it is appropriate for whether it's stilled or carbonated, which I'll talk about that in a second, you're fine. On to stilled and carbonated. If you are using a stilled beverage, any bottle should work. Okay, because you're not doing anything that has pressure. If you're doing a carbonated beverage, make sure it is a bottle that has held carbonation before or is made to. These bottles here are not made for carbonation. This bottle, made for carbonation. I know because it has a swing top. Swing tops in general tend to be made for carbonation. This one, not made for carbonation. This one, not. This one, not. What happens if you put a carbonated beverage into a non-carbonated bottle? Well, hopefully nothing, but worst case, boom, not good. Shattered glass and spoiled brew. That's alcohol abuse where I come from. You really don't want that. Now that you have your brew bottled, what do you do with it? Well, for us, it means we put them in a box. We put them in a box, we put them on a shelf, and they sit until we're ready to consume them. We don't keep them in the fridge, we don't chill them, we don't do anything special with them, and that is the secret. Future Brian here, just a little reminder about where to store your brews. You generally want to keep them out of direct sunlight and somewhere where it's not going to get too drafty. You don't want to put it like on top of a radiator or right next to an air conditioning vent. Generally speaking, direct sunlight, bad. Too much heat, bad. Changing temperatures, bad. Back to your regular scheduled program. Don't do anything special with them. Treat it like any other wine that you would buy from the store. You don't have to keep it chilled. You don't have to keep it cold. As long as you properly ended fermentation, you properly degassed, and you properly bottled in a proper vessel for bottling, then it should last anywhere from 1, 2, to even 3 to 5 years. It could even go beyond that, but we tend to get 3, maybe 4 years before they're gone. We've consumed them already. Past 3 years, it's kind of diminishing returns, whether it gets much better after that. 1 to 3 years is kind of where the sweet spot is for aging most meads and wines. So that's the gist of how we bottle and store our brews, and that's it. If you have any specific questions about this, please ask in the comments below. I'll be happy to answer your questions. This was just kind of a little PSA to help you out. As always, guys, thanks for watching and have a great day.